The Egyptian Sinai coastline normally isn't always sunny divers' paradise. This is Sharm el-Sheikh with its beautiful resorts. But this weekend, it's the highly secured meeting point for the international business elite and for global players. Right here, the World Economic Forum is now focusing on the Middle East, where a gold rush is underway. Desert sheikhdoms turn into boom towns, new investors, new billion-dollar industries, new leaders, new reforms. But is the oil boom stimulating or suppressing for economic and political reforms in the region? Welcome from the Four Seasons Resort in Sharm el-Sheikh. I'm Sabine Christiansen, and this is a new edition of Global Players, and it's called New Leaders, New Money, New Middle East. Answers to this and more questions from my distinguished guests, and they are Rachid Mohamed Rachid is one of the new leaders pushing economic reforms. The former Unilever boss is Egypt's Minister of Foreign Trade and Industry, and some say he could be the next Prime Minister. Very welcome to us. And next to me is Jim Colby, Republican congressman from Arizona. He has taken a long time interest in US-Arab relations and funding aid for the regions. We're very happy to have you with us. And I would like to introduce from Saudi Arabia, joining us is Mohammed Al-Mahdi, co-chair of the World Economic Forum here and CEO of Saudi Basic Industries, which is one of the world's top 10 petrochemical companies. Very welcome. Especially to Sheikha Hissa Sabah, daughter of the Kuwaiti Crown Prince, is president of the Council of Arab Businesswomen. We are very keen to hear more from you. And we are very happy to have you with us because you're really one of the men who put Dubai, the most ambitious sheikhdom, on the map. This is Mohammed Al-Abar, head of Dubai Development and chairman of the real estate giant Emaar. And you were also an important spokesperson on the Dubai Ports deal. So very welcome to all of you. And Sheikha Hissa, I would like to start with you because a year ago, if we're sitting here now in Sharm el-Sheikh at this beautiful resort here, nobody thinks of the things that happened a year ago when we had bomb attacks, when we had about 67 people who were killed in this attack. We had another attack in April this year here in Egypt. What do you feel? Is insecurity one of the really challenges of the region? Do you feel secure to come here? Do you feel safe to come here?
Yes, I do. I had no problem. I mean, when my mother knew that I was coming to Sharm el-Sheikh, she was a bit worried. But I wasn't. Maybe because I experienced through the invasion of Kuwait, I think, I don't know. I feel safe.
But if you quote your mother, you can see that insecurity is a big topic, even in all of the families.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's a mother.
Sure, sure. Minister Rachid, a brand new conference center right here next to the resort. You're hosting more than 1,000 business people at this weekend. The Egyptian government wants to really attract investment to the region here, but Egypt's image is suffering these days also because of the government's harsh measures against the liberal opposition and critics. Would you say economic reforms, yes, but political liberalization, no?
No, actually, I think what we are going through at the moment in Egypt is a true reform on both political and economic side. When we look at what Egypt went through in the last 2 years, it's a significant steps have been taken on the economic side. But I would say that what we have done on the political side is even probably more daring in terms of reform. When we look at what happened in 2005, the number of reform, the opening up of the political system, we had 2 major elections in 2005. What we are going through at the moment and what people are looking at in terms of the different manifestation of people expressing their views, having conflict, expressing now going into the street. This is really an outcome of the system opening up. This is
really more because this is an opposition political
probably some time ago in the past in Egypt, you would have never heard about this because nobody could have dared to do those things. Today, people are going in the streets, expressing themselves. We have a totally free media. And what we are going through now is exactly what we have went through when we started opening up economically. I mean, we are opening up. There are people who are happy with this opening up. There are people who are totally unhappy about it. There are different functions in the society who are taking different views about it. But the direction is clear. I mean, we said this is our destination. The journey is not going to be easy. There are going to be mistakes on the way. The execution might be sometimes
You don't see
perfect.
this interrupted by the political measures that are taken?
No, I'm talking about the political reform now.
Yeah.
I'm not talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the economic
Yeah.
reform. That's what's happening on the political side. And I think the investors are reading this properly. I mean, despite the fact that in the last 18 months we have had a lot of ups and downs on the political side, investors are having confidence about Egypt. We are seeing more investment locally, regionally, internationally, because they know that the government is serious about reform. They know that the government is serious about where it's going. And they understand that, you know, to make all these political changes, this is not going to happen overnight. This is not going to be, you know, without mistakes. This is not going to be without problems. This is not going to be without people in the street. Yeah.
I mean, in this case, the United States were quite clear, I mean, regarding Egypt and the youngest measurements against the liberal candidate Noor. I mean, even in Congress, there was a debate of slashing part of the aid to Egypt.
We've had that debate a year ago before this issue with Noor arose.
But now
we're
the
gonna-
White
we're gonna
House
have it again.
reaction, the political
We're going to
reaction
see
was
this debate
quite...
again. We're going to see this debate again. I chair the subcommittee that provides the funds for all of our foreign assistance and our military assistance programs, and we're going to see this debate next week in the full committee when this comes up. And the fact that the hearing didn't go well, at least as far as we were concerned with Noor, and he was not released, or at least even released on bail, will be used as fodder for those who want to cut the assistance to Egypt. I agree with Minister Rachid.
But the
that
White
there have
House
been,
showed very troubled. They said, we are very
they are
troubled.
and that's the perception. I agree with Minister Rachid that I think certainly on the economics side, enormous reforms have been made. And I think certainly the election, the multiple candidates running for president this last time is a huge step forward. But that's not what's on the news. That's not what's in the paper. That's not what people are seeing on television. They're seeing the demonstrators being beaten in the street, and they're seeing this news of a presidential candidate being imprisoned on what looks like some pretty slim charges. And that's going to be a problem for us. Egypt is a strategic partner. I think we have to look at this on the long haul, not just at what is happening at this very, very moment. But the temptation of members of Congress is to say, this is happening now, this is my chance to do something about it, and this is my chance to make my statement on it. And to cut aid.
And to cut aid. There are a few steps around in this region to more democracy, like take Qatar with the elections next year and so on. What about Saudi Arabia?
Well, Saudi Arabia also going through many changes, both political and economic. It may not be the same degree as happening in Egypt, but it is moving in the right direction. For example, there is we have political reform into the justice system has been modernized to deal with labor cases or arbitration and what have you. We have the economic reforms through the Council of Ministers has been approved. We have the Shura Council is also, there are subcommittees dealing with economic reforms. So it is happening in a partial way.
Is it going for you personally too slowly, or is it?
No, I think in our situation, my company, for example, it does not really impact that much because we are a global company. We are dealing on a global basis. But it is going maybe in the right speed for others in the country.
Okay, let's see. In the case of Dubai, Mr. Alaban, no elections, no political parties. Really, when you're there, you ask yourself, is Dubai a political system, or is this a huge holding company run by the CEO, Sheikh Maktoum? What is it?
You know, if you ask, I mean, we're all pro-democracy, but I think we should also ask, what is democracy? I think democracy is a process of, and a system of government that makes sure that we are employed, that we have good healthcare system, that we have good education for our families, that it is safe, that we all get reasonable jobs, and a bit of security while you're doing that. But of course, what's really missing from that type of system is accountable governments. What we're looking for is that we're looking for transparency, and we're looking for accountable governments. Now, Singapore, Dubai, probably very interesting examples of systems of government that really work almost corruption-free, very progressive, forward-looking. But maybe for a period of time, you do need that system to just kick the system starting, while a lot of process is taking place now for the democratic process that many people talk about, and it's moving even faster than I thought, because I think His Highness is quite a transparent person. Some people might say it's slow. Maybe it is slow because I'm worried that as a result of oil prices moving up, we might have a situation where people might relax.
Okay. What you would like to say, Sheikh Haysa, if I interpret it in the right way, is there an Arab way of democracy, or is it just a Western interpretation that we always have when we're talking about democracy? And is it another understanding that you have here?
Oh, no, I mean, democracy is democracy. I don't think there's an Arab way and a Western way. I mean, it's just democracy is what it is. I mean, in Kuwait, I think it's the most democratic place. I mean, what's going on right now, the people, I mean, are just really using their rights, and I don't think there's more democracy than that.
I would certainly agree with that, and I think that certainly democracy takes different forms, institutions become different, and it progresses in different ways. But I think there is, I believe, a universal yearning of people to be able to participate in the political system. And I also think that when you have economic reforms and economic democracy, liberalization, it follows that you will have political reforms that go behind that. I look at countries like Chile or Taiwan or South Korea as very good examples of that.
But it's that way around, yeah? First economic reforms, and then you can say,
it doesn't have to always be that way, but I think it's when you have those kinds of economic reforms, I think it inevitably will come in a country like Dubai, that you will have those kind of political reforms as well.
Well, it's not either or. At the end of the day, I think there is not one size fits all in this matter. But when we look at the economic reform and the political reform, well, basically, if you do economic reform without economic reform, it's easier. And if you do economic reform without political reform, it's also easier.
You should see that,
because, if I'm doing economic reform without doing any political reform, you can have much power in terms of how you can take faster decisions and so on. But the reality, of course, when you decide to move on both fronts or three fronts with social, there is a lot of trade-offs you have to make. And this is very, related to the environment you are in. So you make trade-offs, you make, some faster speed here and slower here. I mean, you cannot just, there is no textbook. I mean, when we started our reform program, we were very much concerned to be like the joke where, a doctor went in an operation and came out and said the operation, was perfect, but the patient is dead.
Yeah.
So we can follow the textbook in this, and you can destroy the whole, country, because you don't have the luxury of failing when you are dealing with a country.
Okay. Economic change, at any rate, is proceeding at a breathtaking pace. The Middle East enjoying a dramatic rise in consumption and investment. More to that in a minute.